So I welcome all of you for this practical introduction to mindfulness training in sports. As Dr. Thara mentioned, it is a new experience for me as well because I also never thought how we can incorporate mindfulness to sports, but it's a new paradigm shift. And me as a Theravada monk, what we are doing here in sports session is also a interesting experience. But as human beings, we can connect mindfulness to anything. It is not limited to any particular practice, but it is a kind of a universal practice we can incorporate to any of our discipline. And so just to speak you a little bit about the history of mindfulness, as Dr. Tara clearly mentioned, it is started by, basically introduced by the Buddha about 2600 years ago. And it's a very primary practice. It's a very fundamental practice on top of which there are many layers of spiritual development is incorporated. The basic mindfulness practice actually paves the way to develop many other stronger abilities or skills that we need in our spiritual path, as well as actually we can have a lot of benefits in the mundane life as well. Now, just to give an idea about how our mind typically operates, if you consider your own mind, typically our mind stay in the past or in the future. Say, for example, you did something in the past, maybe one year ago, maybe 2 years ago, or maybe even on yesterday, something has happened. So our mind takes that incident again and again. We regret about it, or we sometimes think about it, ponder about it. So it's somewhat enjoying staying in the past. On the other hand, there are various other future plans, various expectations in our mind. So therefore, mind likes to stay in the future as well, and sort of imagining those things and proliferating about those things and planning about those things. And those are quite interesting. If you consider the future and the past, there are many interesting incidents also had happened and going to happen. And also there are maybe various uncertainties also available in the future, especially like today, there are many uncertainties available. And these all grab us either to the past or to the future. So therefore, very rarely we stay in the present. So that is one key factor in mindfulness, how to come back to the present. So this present is not that interesting. Sometimes if you consider your own, say, situation, we always want to go out of the present, get rid of the present, and to be in something beautiful, something interesting, something wonderful. And if we can't go out, we imagine it, and we then like to be there through our mind. So likewise, being in the present is not a interesting experience in the beginning, and therefore we want to get rid of it. We want to escape from the present. But here in the mindfulness practice, we have the courage to be in the present, and there are various techniques to come back to the present. Our mind, as I mentioned, when it is going to the past, when it is shifted to the past, we have to bring it back to the present. When it is lingering in the future, planning in the future, again, we have to bring it back to the present. So this present moment experience become one of the key feature in mindfulness practice. So coming back to the present is not the only thing, but it is the most fundamental thing. So how to come back to the present, how to be in the present, how to be here. So typically, as I mentioned, suppose if I connect this session to the sports, now suppose there is a future event that you have to face. So you are always imagining about it, you are planning about it. There are a lot of anxiety around that. So there are a lot of uncertainties, and even you could be afraid of the event. So likewise, there are many things that you may be dragged to the future. And even on such situation, how well you are able to come back to the present. So this is where we need some primary sort of practice, how to always come back to the present, how to be at home, how to live in the present. So actually you can't immediately do it unless you do a proper practice or proper training on that. And it very much like sports, it is necessary to do a lot of coaching, practice, training, and all these things. Similarly, in mindfulness practice, we need a lot of practice. We need fair amount of training, because our mind is not get used to be in the present, and always coming back to the present is kind of a skill that we need to develop. Again and again, mind drifts to the past and the future. Again and again, we have to bring it back to the present. So as I mentioned, the present experience we can use as a kind of an anchor to the mind. So mind likes to stay in the past or the future, but we are using the present moment experience as a guideline, as a anchoring point to the mind, so that it can stay in the present, it can experience the present. So it's a kind of an introvert practice, therefore. So you are using certain skills, you are using certain say processes available, especially in the body, to come back to the present moment. Say, for example, if you consider the breathing experience. So we know it's a breathing is something we are all familiar with as human beings from our birth moment. So till the death moment, we are breathing. But typically we don't pay attention to breathing. But breathing is very calming experience and very interesting experience if we are able to pay attention, if we can notice it. So here, one type of meditation practice or one type of mindfulness practice is to use breathing as a way, as a mechanism, as a tool to come back to the present. Say, for example, as we breathing in, our abdomen comes little forward, it's rising. And as we breathe out, it is coming back, it is falling. So this rising and falling experience in the abdomen is another mechanism where we can keep our attention in the present moment, because all these physical experiences are extremely in the present moment. They can't go to the past or they can't happen in the future. They have to happen in the present moment. They are strictly in the present moment. So if we are capable of bringing our attention to any of the bodily experiences, then in a way we are living in the present moment. So it's a kind of a roundabout method where we are using our body as a mechanism, as a tool to bring our mind also to the present moment. And as we are sort of progressing in it, so we can use it to various postures. Say, for example, while walking. Now we know that we can walk, but typically while walking, we are planning something, or we are thinking about something has happened, or we may be looking around and enjoying the environment or enjoying the various other sceneries available, but the body is walking. Now, if we can connect this bodily movement, what is happening to the body while walking, it is yet another way of introducing mindfulness or enhancing mindfulness. Say, for example, you are lifting one leg and moving forward and then placing it. And you are then lifting the other leg and then moving forward and placing it. So likewise, step by step, you are walking. Now, we can use this walking experience as a mechanism to introduce mindfulness, to enhance mindfulness, to improve mindfulness, because these are very basic practices. Now, when it comes to mindfulness, one rule that we can maintain is the simplicity. So all these mindfulness practices are utterly simple. They are very basic techniques. They are very fundamental experiences that we are trying to incorporate and get the benefit. So all these practices we typically neglect. We think what is important is maybe in the future, going to happen in the future. So now I basically ignorant about the present. So because the present experience is quite normal, quite ordinary. So therefore we neglect the present moment experience and we plan about the future or imagine about the future, and therefore we are living in the future. We are shifted from the present. We never live in the present. But as we move forward, we are training our mind to come back to the present and to enjoy the present moment. Now, at the beginning, it does not like kind of an enjoyment. It's like a struggle because our mind is not used to be in the present. But as we move forward, when our experience grows, so our mind starts to recognize the present moment experience as a kind of a beautiful experience, as kind of a calm experience, kind of a relaxed experience. So this gives us a different dimension, because so far we were finding happiness in the outside, from the outside, maybe in the future, maybe in the outside world, maybe from someone else. But as we develop mindfulness practice, now a different experience is blossoming in ourselves, where this bodily experience paves the way to recognize our own inner skills. So we are now very much like living again, sort of living in the present moment. It's a kind of a fresh, novel experience. And so we start to enjoy it. At the beginning, it's like a struggle, but as we move forward, we start to enjoy it. Now you are going to say sit for a while, and then you can enjoy it. Say you are going for a walking path, and you can enjoy it. And say you are paying your attention to rising and falling of the abdomen, and you can enjoy it. And you can incorporate this practice even to the day-to-day activities. And actually, it's a kind of a different dimension that you are introducing to your daily practice or daily whatever activities. So it's a newly experienced thing. So previously we were like operating like in the autopilot mode, so everything are happening and we are living in a different world. But now we are fully present. Now we are fully in the right moment, present moment, and therefore we started to live. It's a kind of a fresh opening to our life. It's a kind of a living experience. It's a kind of a dynamic experience, because we are not neglecting anything or we are not omitting anything. Rather, we are now fully experiencing the present. We are not afraid of it. Whatever it happens, whatever present, we are ready to acknowledge it. We are ready to experience it. So therefore, new dimension going to allow our ourselves to open up, and therefore we start to experience it, we start to enjoy it, and slowly it will have a big impact on our mind. Now we have some control on our mind, because our mind now likes to stay and enjoy the present moment rather than imagining things, rather than regretting about the things. Now he has a sort of a beautiful dwelling place, kind of a beautiful safe place to stay. Now that is not nothing else but the body. The bodily experience become one of its own very beautiful dwelling place, safe dwelling place. Now you are ready to stay in the present in a more calm manner, more relaxed, and you enjoy it and you feel at ease, you feel at comfortable. And now more and more you have a kind of a very intimate relationship with the body. Now it is not that you hate your body or something else, but rather there's a very close relationship being built up around the body. Now you know what are the bodily feelings, you know how it is reacting, you know the body language, and you know how it is reacting. So likewise, there's a good intimacy being developed between the mind and the body. So this interconnection is very strong. This interconnection is very beautiful, and it is very powerful, because more you connect with the body, more you can understand yourself, more you can understand even your mind. The understanding of the body leads to the understanding of the mind as well. So whenever kind of an emotion arises in the mind, whenever kind of an anxiety arises in the mind, kind of a stress build in the mind, now you can connect that even to the body. So there's a beautiful strong relationship between the mind and the body. So therefore, by recognizing the bodily experience and being with the bodily experience paves the way to understand the mind. What is the state of the mind? Am I anxious? Am I in a stress? Is my mind tensed? So likewise, you have the capacity to now understand the mind as well, and even to later to face these various mental states, to properly handle these mental states. So likewise, it's a kind of a broader experience that even though we start with very basic, very fundamental, say, practices, it is actually leading us to a very broader kind of an experience. And even it can connect you with your spirituality, with your own inner capacity. And that's a kind of an opening to yourself. And not only in the sports, I mean, we can connect as all human beings. So this mindfulness practice operates like a fundamental practice, or the kind of a foundation to get into this spiritual practice. I think it is enough kind of a broad or kind of an overview about mindfulness. And shall we get into the sort of a practical experience now, or is there anything to add, Dr. Thara?
No, Venerable Sir, we'll get into the practical experience. We'll allow the questions and the clarifications to come during the discussion, please.
Sure, fine. Okay, then now we are going to try it a little bit. So, so you can relax yourself. So as I mentioned, it is a very fundamental experience. So therefore, don't think it is a big thing. Don't think it is a kind of a complex thing. It's fairly a fundamental experience connected to you, not connected to me. It is connected to you. Now you can close your eyes. Gently close your eyes. So don't make any stress, any sort of tension around your eyes. Just gently close your eyes. As you close your eyes, now very much like you have cut off from the world. So fairly lot of experiences, unnecessary experiences are now gone out, and fairly you are able to be with you. So come back to yourself. Now we are sitting. Simply, we are sitting. Our eyes are closed. Our head straight. Neck straight. Lips are touching each other. And we are keeping our shoulders in a restful position. And our hands are resting on our lap or maybe on the table. Maybe we are leaning onto the chair, or maybe we can keep the back straight. And probably we can experience certain pressure at our buttocks, because the weight of the body is now concentrated at the buttocks, and probably you can experience little pressure, a weight at the buttocks, or maybe even the cushion or the chair. Our legs are bent. Maybe the foot touching the ground or the carpet. And if you can come back to this posture, you can recognize the body is sitting. Try to occupy the mind. Try to keep aware about the mind, about this bodily posture. The body is sitting, and the mind is now very much like enveloped around the body. The mind experiences the body. Mind fully aware about the body. our foot touching the ground, and maybe a little pressure. You can feel kind of a tightness, roughness or softness you can feel depending on the texture of the floor. And your thigh muscles are relaxed, calf muscles are relaxed. And you can feel some pressure at your buttocks. Upper half of the body straight. Arms are resting on your lap. Shoulders are relaxed. Neck straight and relaxed. Head straight. Eyes are gently closed. Lips touching each other. And you are keeping your tongue in the middle, not making any pressure towards the teeth or gums. The whole body feeling relaxed. You can now take a deep breath and then slowly exhale. If there are any thoughts in the mind, don't worry about them. It is quite natural to have various thoughts. Don't give any priority to any of these thoughts. You try to keep your attention on the body. All these bodily experiences are quite ordinary. But now we are giving some attention to them. We found them important. We want to connect with them. We want to fully experience them. There may be little pains, even irritations, itching, or even certain pleasurable sensations. Doesn't matter. We can fully embrace them. We can fully be with them. If your mind starts to wander about the past, don't encourage that, but once you know it, bring it back to the present moment. If you recognize that you are dreaming about the future, planning about the future, don't encourage that. Slowly bring the mind back to the present moment. This present moment experience is extremely simple, very direct. Try to appreciate this simplicity. Again, you can take a long breath and slowly release. Probably you can hear certain sounds. Maybe birds chirping, maybe a sound of a fan, maybe sounds of vehicles, whatever it is. No need to be angry of them, but we can acknowledge them as well. We can mindfully listen. They simply come and go. We can aware of them. Again, we can come back to the body. Probably even you can feel the touch sensations of the clothes. Clothes are touching your body. Here and there, kind of a tightness, kind of a rubbing, kind of a holding experience is there due to the clothes that we wear. If you are able to fully be with the body, you can understand there are various processes available. They are happening and you don't need to intervene. They simply happen by themselves. For example, breathing. Breathing happens. Inhale, exhale. The body continuously breathes. Now try to keep your attention at the nostril, closer to the upper lip, closer to the nostril. In that area, keep your attention. Check whether you can feel the breath. Are you able to recognize in-breath? Are you able to recognize out-breath? Give a little curiosity to your mind to recognize. Little curious, is it the in-breath or is it the out-breath? Now the challenge is to recognize each and every breath without missing any breaths. If our mind wanders, during that time we might miss certain breaths. But now give a little challenge to the mind to recognize each and every breath. So we are fully vigilant, fully present, and we are ready to acknowledge the breath. Still, if your mind wanders, you can introduce noting. When in-breath happens, you can note it. You can label it as in. When out-breath happens, you can note it, label it as out. In, out. Basically, through the mind, very softly, you are verbalizing in, out, in, out. Allow the body to breathe. You don't need to interfere. You don't need to control, but allow the body to naturally breathe. And you simply witness the breathing. Simply experience the breathing. Be mindful about the breathing. There is no rush. There is no big thing to do, but simply being with the breath. Feel relaxed. No rush. If you pay your attention to the abdomen, probably you can feel as you're breathing in the abdomen, your tummy, maybe coming little forward, rising. As you breathe out, it's coming back, falling. Now try to recognize rising, falling, rising, falling. Now your focus of attention change. Now you are focusing the attention at the abdomen. Try to recognize each rising, each falling. Now the challenge is to recognize all the risings and fallings without missing any. If you are able to pay attention to the whole body, there may be various other sensations as well. Maybe the heartbeat, maybe certain vibrations, maybe little pains, irritations, itching, many sensations. Once your mindfulness is developed, and if you are able to concentrate, focus your mind, you can pay attention to those sensations as well. And we are trying to notice them, be aware of them. And it could be various feelings, some painful feelings, pleasurable feelings, and mostly neutral feelings. You can recognize these various feelings. They are merely feelings. They are not yours. They happen due to causes. And you can simply aware of them. If your mind wanders, don't worry about it. Don't blame yourself. Slowly bring it back to the body. So body is our home, safe home. Come back home. Be at home. Relax yourself. You can take a long breath and release. And now we can open our eyes. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.